Find product links below and hundreds more videos on my channel.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I want to show you this Leatherman multi-tool. It's something that has been absolutely fantastic for me for both my filmmaking work and photography work, as well as my personal and home stuff, and pretty much everywhere in between. So like my custom builds and DIY projects and my studio decorating. I'm currently working on my studio and building up my studio, and DIY stuff, electronics and fixes. I have to fix tons of stuff, and sort of various random things like opening and closing and sending out packages and things like that. So this is something that I feel has an edge over a lot of the more expensive units, but still gives amazing value and just is, for me, it's fantastic to use. And so I wanted to share this with you guys. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what I like and don't like about this. And obviously this, as with all my videos, this is a completely independent review. Okay, so there's a lot of things to go over. I'm going to try and make it quick. So this is, the build quality is really, really nice. The two things that I find just make it stand out above a lot of the other larger units. First of all, the fact that it opens and closes with spring mechanisms, and it's not something that I don't think would wear out. It's just sort of a pressure coming from that little area there. So it's not like a bunch of little springs that would fall out or something. Yeah, so just springs into place, closed springs open like that, and just holds its position really, really nicely, and I really like that. And then the second thing is that the pliers are spring loaded, so the pliers just sort of, they want to stay in your hand so much more, and they open up for you rather than you having to do these weird sort of things like that in order to open up your pliers when you need them to. So depending on the position of what you're trying to do, you'd have to have this sort of thing going on rather than, or that, or whatever, rather than just have a pair of pliers that stay in your hand because they open up with it, or they stay in your hand a lot more. And I don't know, for me it's just fantastic, and I haven't seen that on almost any multi-tool. And the spring is built into there, so it's not something that's going to get easily damaged or pinch your hand or something. It's built right into there, which I think is lovely. And okay, so next up, the grip on it is very nice. I would have liked possibly a grip that has a something maybe with a bit more grip, but most of these are just this sort of smooth material, with mainly the exception to that is I've seen a few Leathermans, specifically talking about the higher end units here. I've seen a few Leathermans that have a sort of a more of a rough texture on the metal. So yeah, that would have been nice. Maybe some silicone. I'm thinking of getting some of that Suguru stuff, which is this really cool sort of stuff that you stick to whatever you want, and it turns it can add basically silicone-y type rubbery grip type thing to pretty much whatever you want. So it's pretty cheap-ish. So I was thinking of getting some of that and attaching it to here. And okay, so the grip, it's a little rounded at the corners, which is nice. It has enough surface area so that when you want to grip something really tight, it doesn't dig into your hands, and it is nice and comfortable to use. Next up, the pliers are good and really tough, and so far they've just worked really great for me. Again, the spring is something I absolutely love compared to something big like this SOG, which is it's a much beefier unit. The pliers are pretty much the same size, but the size of the unit is just hugely different. And for me, a size like this just means that it's so much more pocketable and so much more comfortable to have in my pocket for when I need it, rather than something like this that doesn't even have a pocket clip, because it's just not very comfortable in your pocket or in your belt. They give it with a belt, like a leather belt holder thing. By the way, I have used a lot of multi-tools. Just what I found in my drawer was that, because I always need multi-tools for the kind of stuff that I've been doing for, many years now. Well, I say many years. I'm not that old, but for a long time I've been doing all this kind of stuff, and I always need multi-tools. I'm a big fan of multi-tools and pocket tools. So that's what I found in one drawer. So like the sort of my the drawer in the middle of my living room thing. So like my main sort of go-to sort of drawer with a daily sort of usage stuff. Okay, next up, the pliers. I was still talking about the pliers. We have a V cutter here. I think this is called a V cutter. I'm not sure. But basically, it's, I hope you can see that there, right there, the cutter. It cuts with pressure rather than a scissor thing. So rather than something which goes like that, like a scissor, like you would see on this SOG. So rather than that, we have something that is just cutting with pressure. So it's the same on both sides, like that, and just puts pressure, and it works really, really well. And the thing about that is that it's far more durable, and just means that if you do, for most things, as far as I know, it will stand up to a lot more abuse than something like this, which can get damaged extremely easily. And then of course we do have large wire cutter right there, that little circle, that's for cutting extra large wire. And then we've got this circly grip type thing, which grips really well onto nuts. And I'm sorry, I know how bad that sounds, but I mean, nuts and screws, that kind of thing. And then it's nicely grooved here, and one nice thing is that the grooves all, I don't know if you can see that, they all match up perfectly on both sides. So it just shows really nice craftsmanship, in my opinion. And okay, really like the pocket clip, really well made, not too tight, not too loose, and doesn't feel like it's going to bend or break on you. So really, really great job on that. And all right, next up, knife. Opens up with one hand, which for me is really important, and doesn't require me to open this thing up to get the knife out and then dig my finger in to try and pull it out, or from there. So that's really important for me, and yeah, big fan of that. The knife is half serrated, which that's usually just down to people's preferences. I would have preferred two different blades, one serrated, one non-serrated. And they do have a unit almost the same as this, same body build, just different tools. And that unit costs a little more. And so I'm probably at some point going to upgrade to that unit instead of this, just for those two different knives. So in this one, which obviously is the Wingman. By the way, I'll have a link below down to the second unit as well, so you know which one I'm talking about. But it's basically the brother of this one. The scissors here work nicely. You do have to, they do lock in place as well, but you do have to push them all the way and then lock them in order to get them to be springy like this. If you don't push them all the way, then they're just sort of mush. As soon as you click them into place all the way, then they're really nice and springy. They work great. They are small, so they aren't as easy to work with as big scissors, and it's not something I use very often, but it's nice to have. I would have preferred a second knife here, but when I bought this, I didn't know that this had like a brother or sister unit that is almost the same, except it has two blades. I forgot the name of that one, but I'll post a link down below. And okay, let's quickly go over the inside tools. We have a beer, or bottle, and can opener. And I'm a big fan of these can openers. I like them so much more than those plastic things you have in the kitchen that you have to spin like that. Then next up, we have a file, which on one side is a ruler and on one side is a file. And the file, I would have liked if it wasn't just lines in one direction. I would have preferred lines going in both directions, but this works. I've used it, and it does work nicely. The other side should have been a different file, not a ruler. Who the hell is going to use a ruler like that? I mean, I guess maybe if you want to check the size of a screw or something, could be useful, but for most people who work that much with screws, you just, I mean, you just know, most of the time you'd know the screw that you're looking at, and you wouldn't need something like this. So I'm not sure what that's for, what they wanted to do with a ruler, but that's one of the things that I think could have been improved on this unit. I would have much preferred to have seen a ruler on the outside of the unit, as you can see on some of the more expensive Leathermans. And next up, we've got this sort of box opener-y type cutter thing, and works nicely. It's fairly sharp, but not razor sharp. So I don't think it would be too easy to cut yourself on it, but still possibility. But, it's less dangerous than, the big knife or something. So a better option for just, opening up packages and things like that. And all the tools from the inside don't lock when they're pushed outwards. They sort of clip into place, just like the other areas of the unit. So they just sort of clip into place. And for me, that's been totally fine so far. A lock is better, but this unit doesn't have a lock, and that so far hasn't bothered me. It's just sort of locked in with a spring. So that's what that one side. At the other side, we have 2 screwdrivers. So we have a Phillips, which is a little on the flat side, but that is common for most of these kinds of multi-tools, or at least for many of them. And a flathead screwdriver. And both of them, again, just lock into place when needed. And yeah, that's fine. Works for me. So far, not been using the Phillips much, but the flathead's very useful. And that's mostly it. So basically, for me, this thing has been so much more comfortable to use than the larger units from Leatherman and SOG and Victorinox. And, from these, I'm not talking about like the cheapo kind of stuff that you'd find in the supermarket or whatever. From the higher end stuff that a professional would want to use. This one has just been fantastic for me. Just feels so nice to use, and I'm just a huge fan. And I have tried and have owned some of the other ones as well, but I have tried a lot of them. The ones that I haven't owned, I tried them in stores. And when I found this one, I fell in love with it immediately. And the price is superb. So I hope this has been useful. I tried to go over all the details because I know that for people looking into this kind of thing who are willing to pay a little more, this thing is around, I believe it's around £30, which may sound expensive, but check out the prices of the other professional models and you won't think this is expensive anymore. So I know basically what I was going to say was the people looking into a unit like this and looking to pay a little more for a really good quality unit, normally, they really care about the small details. So I tried to go over all those small details, and hopefully you guys find this helpful. And I love this thing. Massive, huge fan of this little thing, and yep, huge fan. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other videos, and I'll see you soon. Bye.